Uganda's ruling political party, the National Resistance Movement, ran its most recent general election on the promise of economic empowerment of all Ugandans. I believe that in their bid to meet the end of the bargain and to, of course, do due diligence to the social contract, they have unveiled the Parish Development Model as a means of alienating poverty from the most lowest level of administration, which is the parish. Whereas this is a good idea, it has come also with its own challenges. We have seen academias or professors criticizing it, we have seen political players criticizing it, but also we have had voices of reason and voices of hope saying that, well, this could be the silver bullet towards Uganda's economic transformation. Well, today we convene a panel of young people to give us their own opinion and evaluate the Parish Development Model, but also tell us why they think that youth participation in this particular program is very important. We know that Uganda is a country where the population is, of course, largely young people, but a question still remains on their participation in this particular economic transformation agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Youth Roundtable, and I shall introduce today's panel right away. From my extreme left, and which is your right, is Comrade Oguttu Titus. Titus is a student of law at Kampala International University. Yes, Titus, many thanks for joining us. It's your first time here. The viewers would love to maybe listen to your voice. You can say hello to them.
Well, thank you so much, Moses. My name is Titus Oguttu, a finalist law student at Kampala International University. And I'm happy to be on the Youth Roundtable to discuss a critical issue on the Parish Development Model and why the young people should be central in implementing it. So it's a pleasure to be here together with my comrades. Thank you so much.
Wow, amazing. All the way from Sironko District, the Secretary for Female Affairs of the Sironko District Youth Council, Comrade Namugobe Vicky. That name always disturbs me in pronunciation. But yes, the name is Namugobe Vicky, and she joins us equally for the first time or second time? I think it's the second time here. Yeah. Many thanks for joining us. You could say hello to our viewers.
Hello, everyone, and Comrade Kidega, it's an honor to be once again on the Youth Roundtable, and I really appreciate Civic Space for the time they have created to encourage the youth to come on board and always dissect issues of national importance. And I'd like to stipulate that I bring kind, warm regards from the district of Sironko and the youth of Sironko. Thank you so much.
What is unique about Sironko? I've never bothered to know. Do you maybe produce a given unique cash crop? Are you into agriculture? What's special about Sironko?
And before I speculate about
Sironko
that,
to the world.
Yes, I would like to say that I'm a product of an agricultural produce because thanks to the coffee that my parents and my grandparents were able to produce, here I am today. So in Sironko, we majorly have coffee as our cash crop and also other food crops that we'll talk about.
I guess that's why you have the Bugishu Cooperative Union.
Yes, exactly.
Amazing. Yes, next to Vicky, and in the gentleman right in between is also a first-timer on the Youth Roundtable, someone who attempted to rise to the helm of the Nwoya University Students Guild leadership under the NRM political party, but also I know that he's a youth leader all the way from Amoro? Nwoya, sorry, yes, all the way from Nwoya. Yes, Opiyo Richard, thank you for joining us. The viewers would love to listen to your voice.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank my brother Kidega for giving me this wonderful opportunity to sit on a round table and we discuss matters that affect us, the youth. I'm really humble to be here. I also bring warm greeting from Makere. You know, we have just begun our semester.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. Next to Richard and next to me is Nabukwasi Rebecca. Rebecca is a student of education at Bugema University. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm really humbled being here. Thank you for hosting me. I believe this is the first time being here.
Okay.
So I bring greetings from Bugema University. Students are in holidays and I think there are summer students right now. So I'm really humbled being here. Thank you for hosting me.
How many campuses does Bugema University have?
There are more than 7.
More than
campuses,
7.
Yeah.
So you're in which campus? The
main campus.
The one near us here in Chikoni?
No, the main campus, Luwe.
Luwero. Oh, okay. Well, all the way from Luwero, many thanks for joining us. Vicky, let me start with you. Oh, before I forget, to the graduates of all institutions of learning, congratulations. The Youth Roundtable continues to celebrate your success, but also welcomes you to the real world. Get your seatbelt, brace yourself, for the journey is just about to begin. Vicky, let me just start with you, and maybe you could give us a historical, not historical exactly, but a background. Because from where I'm seated, I know that Uganda has attempted to implement so many development agendas and programs. We know of Bonaba Gagawele, we know of Emyoga, we know of the Youth Livelihood Program, we know of UWEP for the women. There are so many. We know of the Youth Capital Venture Fund and so many of these, economic strategic programs. So the question that a viewer out there would be asking himself is that what is unique about the Parish Development Model? I think let's begin from there. So you could give us a background of the Parish Development Model, then we can pick it up from there.
Yes, thank you so much. As you had earlier on stipulated, that the NRM government in its manifesto this time around promised as usual, or in a manner that they are going to be able to empower the people down to the grassroots. And now the Parish Development Model is an initiative that is being brought on board by the government in order to see that they empower the person up to the root cause down to the lowest unit of the government, that is the parish. So as we know, the system of decentralization, power starts from the central government and it's decentralized and brought down to the local government, and services are brought closer to the people when they are brought down to the local government policies. So now we want to appreciate what the PDM is all about, and the PDM is a policy or a project that the government is bringing on board in order to empower the household incomes and to help us move from a subsistence economy to a money economy, an economy that is better and more modernized. So that means we are moving, as the Minister of Finance said, steadily, as he had stipulated before. So we are moving at a steady pace, and we are moving into something that is called the Parish Development Model. So on top of that, I would like to stipulate that, well, there are projects of the government that have been brought on board, several programs. We have the YLP, we have that was for the youth, we have the UWEP, which was for the women, and today the Parish Development Model is being brought on board. What is the Parish Development Model? The Parish Development Model is something that is coming on board in form of a revolving fund. It is a revolving fund that is it requires, first of all, that the people in the community be mobilized into groups of 10 to 30 people in order to be beneficiaries of this. And what is important about it, they have merged several affirmative groups. We have the youth inclusive, we have the elders, we have the disabled, then we have the women, and we also have a category for general, which could be the men or the general community. So it's touching all corners of the community, and the community is going to take it on and hold it on as something that is important. The benefit about it is also that the fact that it is going to have a low interest rate of 6% per annum. And the other thing about it is, compared to the other policies and the other projects that we are going to be brought on board, the Parish Development Model has a stronger policy, according to how I feel like, because we have a PDC committee that is more embraced with the electoral people that we voted into power, which is composing of the 7 people that are going to closely monitor it and to see to it that it's a success to the person in the community. So as long as you borrow this fund and use it, it is more of agro-based. They are helping people who are more agro-based, because it has come to a notice that really Uganda's economy is surviving more on agriculture. So by modernizing agriculture and lifting up agriculture and reaching out to the person in the rural area, we are trying to lift up our economy to something that is of a better purpose and a greater purpose. So that is all for now.
Wow. You sound very eloquent, and someone who is hearing you speak might have so much hopes in the Parish Development Model. But a question that I would pose to you is that, for example, I saw in the guidelines that the Parish Development Committee must have a youth leader. In Sironko districts, are the parish youth leaders being incorporated into the Parish Development Committee?
Yes, as so far as I've been on ground, we have the parish chief the parish chairpersons of the youth are being incorporated, because now it is something that the parish chief, together with the LC2, have to go on ground, talk to these people, mobilize them and sensitize them. So as far as I'm seeing right now, Sironko is on board because they have tried to mobilize the parish chairpersons to be able to join the PDC committee. And when they join the PDC committee, they will play a vital role on planning for the youth at large, and then also mobilizing other youth to come on board in order to benefit. Because in the past, we have seen that the youth have been left out in most activities. And the other thing we have noticed is most youth did not want to engage in manual work. They wanted to do more of work that is a white collar job. But with the parish chairperson coming on board, as Sironko is trying to do, I think they are on ground right now. They are trying to do everything possible to sensitize the majority youth that are available to see that they participate and get their portion on what is given by the government.
Fair enough. Opiyo, let me come to you. And I'll pick it up from where Vicky has stopped. Portion, our share, what is there for the young people. And to this effect, I'll just read for you a quote by Jacob Eyero. A tweet by Jacob Eyero. Jacob Eyero, for the viewers who don't know him, is the chairperson of the National Youth Council. And his tweet on 21st May says that we are just now learning that youth have no stake in the parish development model. We demanded 30% of funds for youth, and what we have is 30% composition of enterprises by youth. This is totally unacceptable to the National Youth Council of Uganda, and we shall totally reject it. He ends by saying next week. So she says that there is, a portion for the youth. The chairperson seems to suggest that there is nothing for us without us. What is the level of youth participation and involvement in the parish development model? Do we desire more, or we are comfortable with our level of involvement?
Thank you once again, my brother. I think when you look at the portion how this money has been given, I think I will agree with my chair, Eyero, that I think that portion is not enough for us, the youth. Because when you look at the population figure for the country, youth are the majority of the population. And when you look at how the money for the parish development model, the portion the youth are going to get is very small. Understand? That would make it, to me, I think it will not be effective. We have seen things to do with the youth livelihood. It was also a government program. It came, but it didn't do much on the youth because we are too many. Now you look at the parish development model, the amount of money proportion to the youth is very small. And let's look at, because when you read that model, the implementation part of the model, I think they said the district will get amount of money with regard to the number of parishes a district have. Then when you look at one of the principles for the parish development model, which talked about equity. As for me, I don't see any equity in the parish development model. You know me, I come from the north, Nwoya in particular. When you look at how the districts in the northern Uganda are, they are not small like the district in Buganda or other regions. I don't see equity. When you look at me, I'm a chairperson for my sub-county, where I come from.
Are you part of the committee?
No, I'm at the sub-county.
Oh, sub-county, sorry, this is parish. Yeah.
Yes, then at the district. But when you look at my sub-county, we have 6 parishes. 6, but it's very big. For you who come from there, you might have heard of what we call Lee sub-county.
Lee, yes.
It's very big, but it has only 6 parishes. And you are giving the same amount of money a district like Wakiso, maybe a smaller district is getting, because other districts have more parishes than ours. That means for us, when you look at the geographical scope of my district is bigger in proportion to the money we are going to get and to the number of youth within that parish. So there is no equity. The youth are not, few of the youths will get that money. Understand? But I would also appreciate, you know, when we talk of the Parish Development Model, most people focus on the financial point of view. And they forget that we also have other pillars. There are 7 pillars. Me, I'm a physical planner by profession. So when we talk about development and increment in the livelihood of the people at the household level, we don't focus so much on the money the government is going to give, because government has given money. Many projects. For me, I come from a place that has suffered from war for many years, and we have had many government projects to rehabilitate the life of people. Yes, we had NOSAP 1, 2, 3, you know, many, but those money did not do a lot. I would appreciate if the implementation of the Parish Development Model would be more effective. I think it would do more on the things to do with the infrastructure, which is one of the pillars.
Okay.
Because me as a physical planner, we have what we call the public capital investment tool. That is the biggest tool for development and growth and increase in the level of people in the village. When you look at that pillar, they talked about upgrading the roads at the parishes, constructing more feeder roads. When you have the road and youth get to participate in agriculture, there is an easy way of movement.
So, okay,
So before
but
you come in,
I'll
I was
just...
requesting, Comrade Opiyo, I would like to correct you on something that is kind of visible right now. Initially, according to the tweet that the chairperson of the National Youth Council was talking about, he was relating to the composition. I think in the beginning time, I feel there's equity. Well, because now this is how equity is going to be. The portion of amount of money initially, yes, it's 17 million that is being given to the parishes. Each parish will receive 17 million. But the final thing that, the challenge that we have here is that the percentage is not, we are not calculating the percentage according to the amount of money that is given. It's not that because there's a percentage that says the youth have to have 30%, then women 30%, elderly 10%, and the disabled 10%, then the men or general, they will take 20%. In this case, we are not looking at the money, 17% of that, 30% of that 17 million. What is happening, it is the composition. The youth are being grouped, like the guidelines say we should group people into 10 to 30 members. So that means 30% of these members have to take 30% of that 10, that is 3. Okay. If we calculate it, it's 3 youth out of 10, then 3 women, then probably 1 elder, 1 disabled, and 2 men. So now what the youth are fighting for currently, it is not what the paper is giving them. The youth are fighting for money. But for me, I feel that is equity. If we speak about equity, because now all of us are benefiting on that 17 million, but the percentage varies in one way or the other. That means every group is being represented, and I feel that is equity, because the women are being represented, the youth are being represented. That is equity in the group composition. But what the youth want is equity in financial inclusion. Okay,
we shall explore equity and equality slightly later on, but for now, let me bring in Comrade Justus. Justus, do you think that Uganda's economic situation has been correctly diagnosed? The doctors, in their biological terms, when a patient is brought to the hospital, they're diagnosed to understand what exactly are they suffering from, then a prescription is rendered. Do you think that Uganda's economic situation has been correctly diagnosed first? Because you first diagnose, then you prescribe.
Yeah, true.
So do you think that we have the right diagnosis? Therefore, prescribing the Parish Development Model comes in handy in relation to the diagnosis results. So what is your own view? Do you think that we're in the right path?
Well, to any young person out there, I would first want to take them back into history. You know, when Idi Amin came into power, he thought that in a way to help and resolve the black people who were suffering by then, because the Asians were the ones running the business.
That's true.
He thought that the best solution was sending them away, you know, and of course he expelled them away. And he decided appointing their people of his own choice, because for him he thought that the only solution would be putting blacks in those businesses, but the blacks did not know how to run these businesses. So after, I think, 1973, we saw that oil prices changed and economically Uganda had to go in a place that was even more worse than before, despite the peace which wasn't there at that time. So coming back to the parish development
That's why
model,
we had the economic tribunal, things like that.
True. And we faced so many challenges, and I think we took a long time to recover until when the NRM government tried to bring in a few changes in terms of policy mechanisms. So trying to answer this question of the parish development model and if it can actually be a good treatment to the current challenges that the youth are facing out there. I think, first of all, the timing is not the best.
Okay.
When you look at the environment we are in right now, is not that good. In terms of politics, socially, economically, it's not good, it's not favorable. We are facing inflation. I think it has risen, probably might be around 6.5 or 7.1 around, I do not know currently, but it is increasing. So when you want to bring such an idea in this guise of development to the youth, who actually have their own interests than those that you prefer for them, would be not a healthy ground to get the best results. And also we need to ask ourselves, who are the youth going to embrace this parish development model? I do not have any problem with the structuring of 3 youth, 1 elder, 1 disability. I have no problem with that. But who are the people going to consume these initiatives that are being put in place, okay? So, for example, one of the pillars that my brother Opiyo was talking about was infrastructure. So if we say that they're going to build a road to reduce on the access costs to the market, who is going to build these roads, okay? Are you going to bring Chinese to build these roads, or you are going to employ some of the youth in some of these parishes to construct these roads? You know, Uganda has policy frameworks, beautifully written, but poorly implemented because of lack of action plans. That is the major problem we have. And giving an example, we first had the Youth Entrepreneurial Scheme in the 1990s when the NRM had just come in power, before the Bonava Gagawales and the Youth Lively programs came in place. You clearly saw NADS. NADS was clearly not understood by Ugandans, you know, and the farmers. So
Operation wealth creation.
Yeah, or operation wealth creation. All these are things which are just put in a bucket. It's like as if a song, they keep on removing one sweet song and they throw to the population. They bring another one, they throw. They bring another one and they throw. So we are not seeing sustainability of some of these programs. And many youth now know it, that tugenda na chiriwo. That is the saying, as the Baganda say. We go with what is there. So when this money will be given to them, I believe most of them are going to just use it for their personal leisure activities. And at the end of the day, they will make a report and they say, look, we are suffering from inflation. We are being harassed by security operatives. Or the bureaucracy is too corrupt. And because of that mix-up, we are most likely to see a disorganized system which is going to end up mixed with politics and mismanagement. And we do not want to see the parish development model be of importance to the people in the communities, because the truth is many people are suffering. And maybe one thing to also bring on board is the employment rate. When we look at the current statistics, so many youth are employed. I was looking at the Uganda demographic survey which was carried out, and it says that the youth unemployment rate, the youth only, of course when we're talking about the youth, we are looking at people who are between 15 to probably 35. It varies the different policy frameworks, but I think we all agree that a person who is a youth is probably one above 18 years. And of course, a person above 18 years is capable of entering into a contract and can face the consequences afterwards.
That's true.
So we need to see some of these things clearly put down. Do we have an action plan? How is it going to move? Because when you ask me that 17 million is going to be given, my brother, who happens to be a doctor, that is close to his tuition. I mean, that is his tuition, close to 2 semesters, probably 3 semesters. So if we are going to give a hypothetic imagination, how this money is going to be spent, we need to have an action plan. We should not base on the interests of the government, because the government clearly has interests and the youth have their own interests that they wish to create. So,
Okay.
yes.
No, finish up. Just summarize
So
it.
at that bottom line, we also need to clearly see that, I mean, clearly there has been poor implementation, I mean, sensitization. Because if you're going to talk about mindset change, and yet there has been poor sensitization, I don't see serious results coming out. Like seriously, I who has had the privilege to go to law school, when I analyze, I don't see it going through. Yeah.
Wow, thank you very much, Justice. Rebecca, I'll pick it up from where Justice has stopped. The issue of, if I'm to use his exact words, the issue of, I'm forgetting it. But yes, the point is that the aspect of affirmative action. You're a youth, but also a girl child. Yeah. So if there is need for affirmative action, then you desire it twice, both as a young person and as a lady or as a woman. So he speaks of the interests of the young people. Do you think that the Parish Development Model captures your interest as a young person, or it is the interest of the ruling party, the interests of the government, which interests we don't know and we cannot begin to speculate? But I believe that you as a young person, you have your own interests. There are certain core aspects you love to see Uganda's government driving towards. You know, maybe is it ICT? Do the youth want maybe the creative industry? What do the youth actually want? What is your own interest as a young person? And is it catered for in the Parish Development Model?
So, thank you so much. So when I looked at the PDM, and then the youth, and then the girl child, I just saw that, okay, we are not looked upon. I see it as a political move or something, because now when you look at the interests that we need, we as ladies or we as youths, they are not there. Like my friend was looking at, when you look at the PDM, it's more of agriculture. It's an agriculture sector, and all the
pillars.
All the pillars are all around agriculture, and yet the youth have ideas of ICT. They have ideas of other sectors which are not agriculture. So a friend of mine, he was asking about a country that is developing iPhones, and then another country that is developing beans. Which one is going to come up? Which one is going to move at a rapid state? And then we were like, the one which is developing iPhones. So it takes me back to the youths, the senior one youths that were this new curriculum that has helped us bring ideas to students. There were these senior ones kids who came up with the solar system and everything. So when you bring your ideas of agriculture to such students, you're bringing them down. Like they're going to stop thinking about science. They are not going to think about anything else but agriculture. Someone is thinking about phones, how to develop a phone, how to develop a car, how can a car start moving, how can I produce a motorcycle made of solar system, and then you bring, please start growing beans, you go back and farm. It doesn't make sense. So when it comes to the youths, we're not looking we are not looking at farming and growing bananas and beans and cash crop. Yes, we can look at, so let me get back to what he was saying, that it's not going to, it's there, yes, and it can help, but then it's not looking mainly at the youths. So we have to, Maybe
let me help.
Okay, sure. You can just
okay,
make the point.
when we say interests of the youth, Uganda has educated people. That's the truth.
That's
because I mean,
educated or literate?
Okay, let's use the word literate. Sorry about that. Let's use the word literate. And of course we can clearly see that when you look at, I think annually there are so many graduates that are passed out.
That's true.
And they have beautiful ideas. So this idea of the parish development model, because I'm well aware that SACCOs should be created. It's one of the strategies they intend to use, SACCOs. But if these SACCOs are in place, how different are they going to perform than what we saw from a Myoga? Okay? How different are they going to perform? Okay? Are they just going to be giving out cash loans, and if a person defaults, they keep on chasing that person? If the person defaults again, they keep on chasing, and the person is like, look, this is a presidential initiative. I mean, it's a directive. Let's benefit. So we also have the presidential initiatives of skilling youth.
That's true.
Some of them are told to go into tailoring, bricklaying. Is the parish development model going to be a mode to try and uplift some of these youth? Because I mean, when they are there, they are like left out. You get like you have something, because usually others will be thinking you have something, so let's also leave this for other people, maybe other youth who are all, of course we know that the urban youth might be living a better life than the rural youth, but I mean it's all the same. They're all unemployed and they're hustling in the informal sector.
You'll actually be very surprised. So many urban youth are actually living very low standards of living lives. They can barely afford a meal a day. They are the ones living on chikomando. Yet the youth in the rural areas actually have, access to all these foods and all that. But anyway, we shall explore that. Yeah?
True.
Opio, let me come to you. I am not an economist by training. I am equally pursuing my law degree. But Dambisa Moyo is a globally celebrated economist. She went to Oxford University, she went to Harvard University, and she's a renowned, writer and author of so many economic books. Yeah. In her book, Dead Aid, I think chapter 6 somewhere there, she attempts to describe the economies of low-developed countries. But then she tries to narrate the strategy used by, for example, the USA to develop its economy. The USA used basically policy. They created an enabling environment. Yeah, the USA didn't give Americans free money or money at very low interest rates, but they created an enabling environment, created policies that enable the ordinary American investor to thrive. One of which was the smooth hole tariff, which introduced an extra 20% tax on foreign imported commodities, agriculture and industrial. So the issues around policy stood tall in the aspect of developing these very big economies. So I think that our government needs to focus more on the aspect of policy. Have policies in place so that any Ugandan can thrive. Okay? Because issues around nepotism keep on coming. Issues around corruption. And Michelle Obama, in her book Becoming, says that nepotism and tribalism can be overcome by grit. That if there is merit in a place, like that someone will need you justice, irrespective of where you come from. For as long as you have the merit, you have what they need, they will hire you, they will seek your services. So she narrates that nepotism can be overcome by grit. So all these demonstrate to you that there is need for us to build a policy framework and have an environment where anyone, irrespective of where you come from, Nwoya, from where you can thrive in this Uganda. So do you think that, and this goes back to the aspect of sustainability that he mentioned, is this a sustainable approach? Can the PDM last 10, 20, 30 years? Is the question. Because we must begin with the end in mind, right? So the question is around sustainability. Do you think PDM can last 10, 20, 30 years? Because policies can stand the test of time. Policies are documents you put in paper, they will be there. So the PDM policy, is it sustainable?
It's a tricky question. But everything is possible. I will say, when I looked at the Parish Development Model, how it's going to be implemented, and I read through the pillars. I think to me, I would have loved to see government starting with the last pillar about the mindset change of the youth. I'm a youth leader, but what I've seen, our fellow youth need a mindset change. We need to change our mind from how things were done. You see, my brother Kidega, the Uganda we are living, the youth we have in Uganda, if I would say the one thing to what you use laptop, you know what we call click and enter. Understand? The youth want things like you click thing, then it comes out.
It happens immediately.
Yes. They don't want to think. They don't want to dig. Me, I was working in the Nwoya.
Okay.
I mean the youth livelihood. Like you will give money to a youth group. They will start even fighting with the chair and the what. Then one will borrow money and disappear. If she is living in Nwoya, she will get married to Pade. Like, yeah, how would you follow that someone?
So they use money for marriage.
Yes. You give someone money. Someone uses the money the way he or she wants and goes away. That comes due to poor mindset. You think this is a government program. They actually at this time people perception they're thinking this was money being given as a reward for the election. Understand? You need to change the mind of our young people. You see, I wanted to disagree with my sister when she was saying this thing is over on agriculture and most of the youth are not doing agri. You see, I'm someone who like things to do with education, by the way. I'm an advocate for education even at my district. But when you look at the enrollment, it starts well at primary level. Then it keep on reducing. We are from Gulu. If you look at the number of youth who leave Gulu, the secondary school and they join, whether private or public universities in Uganda, there are very few. Majority of them remain and go back for Greek.
Is that by choice or by design?
Not by choice.
Not by choice.
Because of
the circumstances.
Yes. But you see, for us we say, I would not like government every time to give money to youth. Catch every time is not going to solve a problem. You can give someone a hook instead of giving fish.
Yeah.
Understand? Where sometimes when you're dating, like, let me look at example, you want to upgrade a slum within Kampala. You don't go there and construct a house and say you people go and occupy the room. We have seen many government projects, things to do with the urban renewal, upgrading of slum. You upgrade this area, you put people there. There must be choice of something, of which I'm happy that when you look at the Parish Development Model, I think people at the local contact have a choice of what they are going to do. They have given
What is the choice if it is not farming?
Yes, what you are going to do, the type of crop you grow according to the environment you're living in. Understand? You don't give something to someone. Let someone participate in what they want.
I think what Justice is trying to say is that, yes, whereas you can choose a crop to plant, you are ring-fenced into the whole agriculture idea. Which is contrary to what Rebecca is saying, that youth actually are innovative. They want to be involved in ICT. They want to jump onto the global train of ICT. You know, that's where the youth want to be. But then the PDM is saying, no. Just
Around
pick
that.
from maybe beans or tomatoes, plant something around that. Yeah, the youth are
monetary aspect.
Mm.
But we must also
It's
appreciate
not-
other pillars.
It's not from the
Understand?
monetary aspect.
That is one of the pillars. That is
Now
pillar
to bring
number
in
3.
Vicky.
Even the education he talks about and the
Yes.
infrastructure it is provided for.
Yes.
So if you're going to say that, are we seeing this parish development model trying to create more jobs for youth? Because I mean, few are going to be in charge. How about the rest? Are you only focusing on those going to be in charge, or you're focusing on the whole community as a whole to
my
benefit?
brother,
Good question. Good question.
my
Opiyo.
brother Oguttu. We must accept that there is no country in the world where there is full employment.
That is true.
That is true. I've not disagreed. I've just
So now that's where we discuss the percentage.
But
Yes.
the percentage, yeah.
Of course, it is a cross-cutting issue, but now we discuss the percentage of unemployment. That is where the variation is seen. But just, I want to bring in Vicky. Vicky and Opiyo brings it up, and Oguttu as well, and I think also Rebecca, the aspect of accountability. This is taxpayers' money. This isn't money coming from someone's pocket. This isn't money coming from maybe my own pocket. This is taxpayers' money. So it must be accounted for. Each and every single penny must be accounted for. So the question is around the accountability mechanism that the parish development model has put in place to ensure that there are checks and balances, that you get this money, you use it for development, yes, but you pay it back with the interest. So what accountability mechanisms have been put by the parish development model so that taxpayers' money is not squandered and not misused?
Okay, thank you so much.
But also, you are the constant, so you can answer, you can put up your constant and also that question as well.
Yes, when I had just read the paperwork and the guidelines for the parish development model, I was like, oh God, finally we have a policy. And I feel that really, if it is implemented as it is stated on paperwork, it is something that is really, really good for the society. That is what I feel. But before I come to the concern that you've raised me, I felt I had something itching me that I would love to react concerning what they are saying. I would say that, yes, the parish development model as it is, it's a very nice policy, but it has its loopholes as it may be stipulated. But we cannot say that it doesn't occupy the interests of the youth. No, that would be a wrong statement to say, because we are not dwelling on one pillar as we said. It has 7 pillars. Let's not cross the bridge before we,
Could you just
we
mention
go there.
the pillars?
One of the pillars I would like to, before we reach there, I want to really stipulate upon is the first pillar, that it has production, processing, storage, and marketing.
Yeah.
It means if you cannot be, as a youth, participate in agriculture, go and get a farm, a hoe and dig, at least you can participate in something that is storage. Storage doesn't need you to go on ground and farm. You can have your own storage facility, and probably people come in the community, you keep it like the old systems you used to do in the old models where people used to do in granaries. This time it will be a commercial storage. You centralize yourself there with the money that you can have achieved from the revolving fund, buy produce, sell it off to the market that is available. Then there is processing. As a youth, you can use your innovative ideas to see how you produce, how you process it. There is a certain period in time during the COVID period, we had excess production of agriculture. But if a youth, you are innovative today, you come up and say, no, the excess bananas, I can process them into flour. It is innovativeness. We are using ICT. Isn't that ICT? I feel that is ICT, and you're using it to your best capacity. You're using your skills you've learned in school. So it occupies all youth in different capacities that they have. We have marketing. There are youth who have gone to business schools. They have business skills. Why don't you use that education that has been given to you to look for market for our commodities? Then after you say you're unemployed. So as I'm saying, these pillars that are coming. If we the youth stop, we the youth are used to these policies of where people impact words in us. We do not know the words and the consequences of what they say. They say a youth is a mindset. They try to impact in us a mindset to try to fight policies that are coming in place. Why don't we embrace this policy, give it a chance, and see how it works? There is a pillar of infrastructure. We have not yet even reached that pillar yet. We are still rolling off from agriculture. People are still formulating groups. We are looking at infrastructure. Yes, it's good to foresee, but how don't we know that when infrastructure comes, the youth are going to get employment, obviously. The roads are going to be created.
I have a concern.
Schools are going to come.
Yeah, sure.
Youth are going to go
Just
and
curious,
teach in
yes.
these schools. Health centers, we are going to. It's the youth that are going to work in these health centers. So whatever
Is there
pillar,
a deliberate policy to ensure that youth are actually the people working? Because we have seen jobs being created.
okay, that is
But
where the
are they being
weakness would.
taken by young people?
That is where the weakness would come from. We would talk about that, but we should not say youth are not being included. We will talk about what the weakness is and how we should be able to overcome such a weakness. Yes, we understand that we as the policies are coming, but could there be a strong framework or a strong policy that is specifically pointing out on the youth and say, okay, when the infrastructure is implemented, let the percentage of youth who will be employed under this be of such and such. That is what we should have a conversation about, but not to say that we are leaving out the youth. The youth are coming on board. That is, if the youth, we decide to say that let's take it on and embrace it. But if we fight it, we shall not be able to do what? To embrace it as a whole. So coming back to the accountability issue. Now, in the past, we had there were issues with various projects that have come on board. Of recent, was it in 2020, I hope my memory serves me right, that the government was trying to see off the unpaid loan that the YLP, the youth had run away with the money. In my district, I don't want to talk about it because it was just a disaster. People get money, run to Sudan, as he had said. So the government is also, this is taxpayers' money. It's not good to waste taxpayers' money. So the government needed to have had a strict policy for YLP at that moment, which they failed to do. And the youth decided to run away with it. So I feel, well, there is a loophole in that policy implementation to see that accountability is given to the fullest. Though the PDM stipulates that the PDCs, the Parish Development Committees are going to play a vital role in monitoring. We have the RDCs also will come on board. We have other stakeholders who are coming on board to see that they do not only mobilize and sensitize people to take part, but when the money is released, they will take charge into monitoring. But the beauty about it is what I see is the involvement of the community. I'm a strong scholar of something what is called natural law. I believe that whatever is natural and the community protects it, it thrives a lot. Sometimes you don't need to be forced and impacted on a lot of impact in order to do it if you're an individual. But if we work as a community plays a monitoring role. Those days when there was insecurity systems, they had something.
Community policing.
Community policing. The community itself sieved out the criminals and had solutions for them on what to do.
So
in this case,
this is community accountability.
For me, I feel it is community accountability, which is a weak point right now, which we need to look into, as the government needs to look into to make it better. But right now, what I am seeing that PDM is giving is the community. Because as you take the revolving fund, they are not telling you bring in your houses and your property.
Because you see, Vicky, just a second.
Yes.
You're a lawyer.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Or a law student.
Yes.
Or a lawyer in the making. And you know that criminal law is of public interest, right? So when you speak of community policing, the reason as to why the community will be involved is because of the nature of offenses being committed. So the community is naturally lured towards criminal offenses and criminal liability cases. But this is a financial transaction. It is, I would say, a private. It's a private contract between me, the person who has got the money, and the Parish Development Committee. So can we rely on the community to create a framework of accountability? Because I don't want the viewers to look at this from the sense of the community policing. For reasons I've given, the other is of public interest. That is why you see, it is, if you commit an offense, it is the state that prosecutes you, because there is a general public interest in that matter. But this is a private arrangement. It's a private contract. So I can choose to go and get the money or not. So do you want to rely on the public, on the community, to account in a private arrangement? Or we should be more intentional and have a framework that stipulates that if you don't pay this money, you have a 3-year sentence, you have a 6-month sentence, or something needs to be put.
Okay, according to what you have said, I was trying to draw to you to what the paperwork is showing us. The paperwork is showing us that it's community what? Policing that is going to be there. Because as we have to know that this money is not going to play only one role as a revolving fund. It is also going to develop the community. So if the people reach out and sensitize the people and tell them that, you know what, if this money is eaten and whatever, then at the end of it all, the whole parish loses out on the development. That is what the paperwork is teaching us.
Okay.
But we need to appreciate the factors you have said, that that is still a loophole.
A loophole.
Yes,
Yeah.
that the framers of the PDM need to look into at the end of it all. But also our society, the way it has been groomed, when they restrict policing on money that is dashed out for free, they tend to shun back behind, and they do not want to participate in that. Because this is why Emyoga, I feel, is failing at a certain point. They brought up the issue of come and first save. They've attached a lot of stringent conditions on the money, and people said, you know what? This money has a lot of conditions. We shall not manage it. But
okay, thank you,
Yes.
Vicky. We shall begin from where you've stopped right after the break. And where you've stopped, to me, is on the aspect of the framers, in your own words, the framers of the Parish Development Model. And that's why we shall question the public involvement. That was the public generally involved, and I think that's why I'll pick on the legal mind of, you know, the policy formulation process. Was due course, was due diligence followed? To the viewers, hope you are enjoying this conversation. I'm personally enjoying it. I hope you are. But please feel free to put your comments on the comment section. If you agree with any of the panelists, let us know on the comment section. If you disagree, do the same on the comment section. But the most important thing is give us your alternative opinion. For now, let's take a short commercial break. Don't blink, because, my friend, you blink, you miss out.
Digital rights are those human rights and legal rights that allow individuals to access, use, create and publish digital media, or to access and use computers, other electronic devices and telecommunication networks. Digital rights include a right to freedom of expression, information and communication through technology, a right to privacy and data protection, a right to credit for personal works, a right to universal and equal digital access, a right to identity, a right to anonymity, a right to be forgotten, and a right for protection of minors, among others. The state's digital rights are frequently violated through various unfair actions, for example, blockage of websites and social networks, theft of credentials, unauthorized use of people's data for personal gain, privacy intrusion, online censorship, arrests and intimidation of online users, internet blockages, and the proliferation of laws and regulations that undermine the potential of technology to drive social, economic, and political development worldwide. It is hence every citizen's responsibility to respect rights of other digital users and to speak out or report to the responsible parties when one's rights are violated.
Yes, thank you very much for keeping it the Youth Round Table. And we shall begin right from where we had stopped. Rebecca, let me just begin with you. Earlier on, Opiyo brought in the argument of there is need for a mindset change, you know. But then, what are we trying to change our mindsets from, is the question. That, because I believe that people's mindsets are influenced by so many things. Their environment, the kind of maybe education that they've had, but also their future prospects and desires. So you want to change the mindset of someone who has been constructed socially in some way. Because I don't think that the mindset that a young person has should exactly resonate with the mindset of maybe a 70-year-old person. So do you think that the argument of mindset change is a misplaced debate? And that the argument should be that let the youth keep with their mindset. What is their mindset? They want to do ICT, they want to play football, they want to play sports. That is why you should put the money. The youth want to sing. Set up government studios. Let them go and record their music. The youth want to play football. Set up government academies. Let them go and play football. Okay, let them nurture their talent, but not shifting them from what they want to what you believe is right. So do you think that the issue of mindset change is a misplaced debate? Or do you think that, well, the youth actually need to change their mindset from looking at maybe white-collar jobs only to maybe exploring their mind to look at agriculture, look at other possible ventures that they can involve in?
Yeah, thank you so much.
And you are an educationist. So you're the people who are going to teach our children, you know, so what are you going to tell them around mindset?
So with the issue of mindset change, I think it should be actually the first pillar. It was not supposed to be put down this side, because really, when you look at the youths, they have a lot in mind. We the youths are not looking at Uganda as a country. Like, we are not competing with only the people of Uganda. We are studying because we want to be like, because in our mind we feel we can be like Ben Carson. We feel we can be like Elon
Mark
Musk.
Zuckerberg.
Exactly.
Jack
So,
Ma.
yeah, exactly. So we have to change the youth's mindset to back home. They should come back home and see how the country is going, how everything is supposed to be. This is not a movie or a fiction story.
But why are you curtailing their thinking?
No.
Why not allow them to think the way they want? If they're thinking to the level of the Jack Ma's, the Mark Zuckerberg level, I think that's a good thing.
It is a good thing, yes.
Yeah.
But why are we changing their mindset? Because we don't have what they need. We don't have the
infrastructure.
The infrastructures. Let us first go back to our roots. Create what creates the other. What do they need exactly to create what they want? So we have to change the mindset. Change is actually good,
but there are actually ways through which government can support the youth in achieving what they want, in quotes. Okay, because I would ask you that why should we have a 12% tax on data? The era that we are in today, the information age, is one where internet and data is the new fuel, is the new engine. It's the new motor. In Uganda, we have a 12% tax on data. Platforms like Facebook remain closed. Platforms where young people were marketing their products and what remains closed. So do we actually have interest to get the youth to the fourth industrial revolution?
That is the problem now with the government, because they are denying youth's right. But still, the mindset is also fine, because we have to teach youths that agriculture is meaningful. There is something nice in agriculture. We used to grow up in households that they used to tell us quotes, like, I don't know really.
That is very very staunch.
But maybe our elders saw that this is not good for us, or maybe in developing the country. But then and then they saw that agriculture somehow can help us. If we look at it at cash crop growing, in ancient history, it was bringing us to a market. It was people, we were being known because of that. So if we go back to our roots and start doing what we are known of, then that would be great. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Justice, let me come to you. The legal mind, you and Vicky, but I'll put the legal question to you. We know that the laws of Uganda provide for a policy formulation process. It's a cycle that must be followed. Maybe a bill is introduced in parliament, I don't know. But there's a policy cycle. But the one thing I know is that this policy cycle must involve people. There must be popular participation. The people's views must be captured. Okay? So let's speak about the process through which this policy was formulated. Do you think there was due diligence done in terms of following to the dot the policy formulation process, or it was, I don't know, a cabinet decision or an NRM secretariat decision? They just sat them and said, I think PDM will work for us as a country, and let us roll it out. So do you think that there was involvement in terms of people's participation where their views captured? Because if the views were captured, I think that we will not be pulling ropes of, no, we don't want this, or we want this, because we would have participated in the formulation of the document.
Yes. So first of all, just to mention something about her presentation, is that any youth outside there watching this show should know that mindset cannot change if the environment is the same. That's point number one. All of them should know that. The environment has been the same ever since the Youth Entrepreneur Scheme, Youth Livelihood Fund, NADS, Yoga, to the Parish Development Model. It's the same thing. So when you come to the way policies are made in Uganda, you may be surprised. Personally, I think the NRM caucus has more power than the parliament right now, because everything NRM caucus is going to sit. NRM caucus is sitting. I mean, even when we are attacked by grasshoppers, NRM caucus will sit. So you clearly see that, first of all, in the legislature itself, I always ask myself, if you're going to deliberate matters of national importance, why do you have to invite the NRM caucus to only discuss those matters? Aren't the other MPs also to discuss matters of national importance? I mean, their views together can bring out a good product.
That's true.
So when you look at the way policies are made, of course, first of all, you need to know what is the common man suffering down there. And I think that has always been the mistake of government when it is implementing. It does not know what Ugandans want. Ugandans have their own interest. And we are now curtailed in this mindset that we like money so much and we think that money can solve all problems. And now with the Parish Development Model, everybody is looking at it like as if it's the only solution to the problems we are facing as young people and as a country. Because as the youth occupying 70% of the population and at the same time they're unemployed, there is a problem somewhere. So you're not focusing at the unemployment, you're not looking at the health needs. I mean, we are not going to see specialized hospitals being constructed just because of the Parish Development Model, you know. And to put that aside, we have investors in the ground. So if you're going to say that you want the citizenry to do processing, do the storaging, do the marketing, I mean, you're literally putting up a competition with the investors who are within the country. So, and to give you a balance, the investors are even given 10 years tax incentives. The Parish Development Model, those guys are going to be subjected to tax. Whether they want or what, everything they are going to do, they are going to tax them. Yet they have to compete with an investor who actually has tax incentives of 10 years to 20. And when you ask him how many people is he employing, just a few. How is he paying them? Just a few. So when you look at how policies are made in Uganda, I think they do not critically analyze the needs of what the citizenry needs. They just bring something to appease the emotions of the citizens and say, at least we have given you. Okay, State House is having 700 billion as theirs, but we are also giving you 17 million as the Parish Development Model. So there is a mismatch between the laws that want to be put in place and the laws that would have been put in place that would have helped the citizenry. So at the end of the day, it's just something to make us happy, go home, that you can buy sugar. I don't know how much the price is right now, and you call it a day. So if you can't afford tuition for your child at the end of the day, and you see the mistake I wanted to criticize Vicky about is that when I say interests, I don't mean just the typical normal things that the youth want, you know. Interests are diverted. Innovation, creativity, you know. There are so many spheres of life that youth participate in. It's not only agriculture. We know it's the backbone, yes, but can it solve the current crisis we have? Can it, the president keeps on saying that they are going to create 50 million jobs. I mean, where are the 50 million jobs going to come from? From the informal sector, where the Parish Development Model is going to fall in, or something else within the Parish Development Model that we do not know about? So I also remain there confused. We do not know whether it's a real thing or it's just something to make us happy. And we say, yeah, government has done something. Thank you so much. So good, we are there.
Good question. Vicky, I have no option but to come to you. Oguttu's concerns are around, is this parish development model addressing the core issues of the young people? You belong to an institution that is mandated to literally oversee the welfare and the governance of young people, the National Youth Council. So I believe all of us here are literally under your political leadership. So you have a mandate, you have a responsibility to this country's young people. And this is by law. So Oguttu puts up a concern that, does the PDM address the core issues that young people are grappling with? Unemployment, issues around SRHR, issues around skilling, and so many other issues that the youth are grappling with. Do you think that the PDM is offering a solution to some of these very critical challenges of young people? And if so, how?
Thank you so much. Well, as we well know that the issues of our youth are really so vast. But as I will sing this song and keep on bringing us back that the PDM has several pillars. And
So let
in
us
the
know.
very various pillars, do these various services do belong that can be helpful to the youth. But as I will still agree partially with him and stipulate that, well, it may not be able to address up to the root cause of the problem that they are, because as you've heard, a youth is a vibrant person and a youth is an innovative person whose mindset cannot be limited to a certain capacity of where it should be. You cannot come and fix it and tell them do this and impose on them what they are supposed to do. A youth is someone who explores many things and finds out many things. But partially, the PDM is able to cover what it is. Like a portion of unemployment, we are trying to fix them into an agro-based. There are people who are agro-based and are flourished in the agro-based who are youth, but there have not been incentives that could be able to encourage them to be more productive into where they are. For me, at one moment, I invested a lot in piggery farming, but because the environment around was not conducive for me, I wasn't able to yield as what I expected in the outcome, and I had a lashback. I had to leave and quit the agriculture sector.
So do you expect to benefit in a group?
That is what I'm coming towards right now. Well, it would be able to, you would benefit in the group if there are other external incentives that the government is going to put in place in order to sustain and help the activity to flourish. If there are other incentives, like as he has spoken about, if we are not like a youth, when you form something or when you come up with, how do I call it? Like you organize yourself and you start up a business. You're competing. Yours is young and youthful. It's just on the market. But there are those people who have been having bidding and taking contracts from long time ago. So you find it's very difficult for you to compete on such a market. But however, I'll still stipulate, if the government still creates better incentive policies to protect the youth as they go into the PDM, it would be a better thing. Because under the pillar of production, I have stipulated before, unemployment will be given according to the enterprise the youth will choose. Then on the health sector, we are advocating that it should be widely opened up so that in the health sector, the issues of the youth are also addressed too. But that will take upon, if we continuously advocate as the National Youth Council, it is our mandate not to sit back and cross our hands, but to continuously lead to those ministries and go out to those people that are responsible for the PDM to tell them what our views are so that they can be able to incorporate us, because there is nothing for us without us.
Okay. It's a little bit comforting to know that you still appreciate the mandate and responsibility you have to this country's young people. And we hope that you don't relent in terms of, pushing for these reforms and, these adjustments where it need be. Opiyo, let me come to you. And I'll just point out pillar number 1, production, storage, processing, and marketing. I think that this document has some very good elements in it. And pillar 1 is actually very good. Because the misconception out there in the past has been that agriculture has been presented as a hoe and a hoe and a panga or a wheelbarrow. But I think pillar 1 attempts to present agriculture as an entire value chain. And I think that has been lacking. So to me, I think this is where credit needs to be given. That now we are moving towards seeing agriculture as an entire value chain, not just as a hoe and maybe a tractor. But then the constant still remains, and Vicky did allude to it, the empowerment of young people. Because if you look at this value chain, where can young people confidently say that we can participate? Is it in production? Is it in storage? Is it in processing? Or is it in marketing? Because marketing requires some resources. You need to maybe have a marketing company, or I don't know, but you require some incentive to put up, or to partake of the marketing. Storage is still left to maybe the rural youth. So do you think that young people can participate effectively in this agricultural value chain? And if so, at what level? At production, processing, marketing, where exactly?
Thank you, my brother, once again. I've gone through the pillars. When you look at the pillar number 1, which talk about the production, storage, and marketing, of the agricultural products. As for me, I think we as youth, we can be involved in all the processes. Because when you look at the production, I think everyone is capable to be involved in the production process, as well as storage. Because when you look down at the document, the Parish Development Model, is talking about things to do with the bringing extension to the youth at the grass level, training them, and among us, the youth, we have people who have done courses at the university, diploma at the institution, things to do with the agricultural extensions, those extension workers. We have many youths. Now, that is where I think majority of them can be involved. Because government talk about extension, giving extension services to the farmers. Giving the seeds, understand, veterinary services, like a lot is going to happen there. Even the marketing, people have done agribusiness, still can be involved in that process. But the question we would have ask ourselves, to what extent are they going to be involved?
Good question.
Yes, that is the question. To what extent will the youth be involved? Understand? But from a layman view, every youth will be involved in all the processes of production, storage, and marketing.
Okay, fair enough. Rebecca, let me come to you. Pillar number 7, governance. Governance and administration. Kwame Nkrumah convened a conference of African leaders some decades ago. And the fundamental statement that everyone picked from that conference or gathering was that he said that seek first the political kingdom and anything else shall come in place, right? So, and I think to me, pillar number 7 is about seeking the political kingdom, governance, being part of the table, having a seat at the table, not discussing issues from the fence, but being on the table where the cake is being divided, right? So now, the table in the Parish Development Model is the Parish Development Committee. That's where the decisions are going to be taken.
Yeah.
We have a youth chairperson of the parish who is a member. But out of a committee of 9, are there 9 people? 12?
Yes.
You have only one affirmative, one affirmative slot being left out to young people. Do you think that that one person can effectively agitate and effectively represent the views of young people in a committee of 12? But also factoring in the concern of not all these youth chairpersons, not all these sub-county youth chairpersons are being involved in this committee. But even if they are being involved, they are only 1 out of 12. Could this number have been higher? Or we can trust Vicky's structures of the National Youth Council, that the chairperson at the parish, has what it takes to wrestle those 12 people and ensure that our concerns are captured.
No, I think that one person can bring change, can bring something. Depends on who is there, who is representing
the parish youth chairperson, the Vickies.
Yes. Now, if we put Vicky there with our ideas, we know very well she's going to represent us well, and she's going to come up with ideas that are going to help us. So the fact that we have trusted her,
Vicky's and Opiyo also.
Yes.
Before I forget.
The sub-county and district.
Yeah. The fact that we have trusted her to represent us, we know very well she has a mind that is going to change. Actually, she can the way I have had her, she can change the whole table to believing in her.
So we can only hope that all the chairpersons are of Vicky's caliber We can only hope.
Well, I would just like to help and defend that position a little bit. The fact, number one, by you stipulating that we are entrusting one person, it's like we are undermining the power and authority of the National Youth Council. And yet we want to stipulate that everyone who was elected in every electoral position was given by the mandate by the youth. And I want to first of all correct us and tell us that the PDC committee composes of 7 people, which is represented by various affirmative positions that are there within. The youth was given a slot. By you saying that the parish chairperson is not capable, that means we undermine the power and authority that the youth invested in their leaders, because the youth were lined up at a certain point into electoral college votes, and they voted the person whom they felt was capable of fighting for their rights and obligations to see that they benefit for what they say. So I fully entrust every parish chairperson is capable of fighting for the parish in all capacities, because the committee does not only compose him, there are 9 members who can go back and sit with him, advise him, consult with him, and together run the parish, and also try to see that the PDM is beneficial to every youth. So for me, I feel the parish chairperson, a slot that is given to him, is enough for him to do what was mandated to him by the people that voted him into power.
Wow. The parish youth chairperson you've had, our hopes are vested in you. When you sit on that committee, ensure that you represent our views and our concerns and interests as young people. Comrades, we are moving to the end of this particular conversation. Like I said, towards the end, I'll just get your opinion about the most recently concluded by-election in Omoro County. But for now, let's just conclude and wrap up the Parish Development Model. What needs to be done to make this more pro-youth? And the key word here is youth. We are agitating and clamoring for more youth participation and for a bigger share for young people. So to achieve that, how best do you think, what recommendations do you have? I'll just move like this. So Oguttu, you have 1 minute, then.
There shouldn't be much that should be done. We have seen people in big government offices who have suffered and later on released for free. So the parish development model is something that should be given time. Let the mistakes that were made in the earlier schemes not follow the parish development model. I think it's a good one, just that it has not been made popular to the youth particularly, and also it's not clear to the youth. Proper sensitization is supposed to be done to all the youth at all categories. Yeah. So once that is done, definitely if they have the power to vote Vicky, who has such ideas, then why can't the government sensitize them on the basics of the parish development model than having to dish out money?
Okay, sensitization. Vicky?
I learned of recent that the YLP, the Youth Livelihood Fund, had been put to a stall. And the youth fund that has been empowering them has been cut off. Their hands have been cut off. And the youth had expectation that the 30% would be 30% of money composition, not 30% of the composition of the groups. So as the youth fraternity, we are calling upon the government to install at least 30% of the youth composition of the money back to them so that the youth can be able to benefit. That is one of the things. And the next thing about it is let the government create better incentives that as we take on the role of PDM, as the youth get engaged in the PDM activities, let the taxes be levied and be appropriate for the youth to be able to practice and to carry on these pillars that are being given, and let the environment be favorable for them. So basically, this is what I would ask the government to really do it, and to also in the PDM secretariat, let us install more of the youth into these offices, because them better can be able to understand what their needs are, and they can be able to advocate for what is better for them in order for them to be beneficial from the grassroots levels.
Amazing. Opiyo?
I think I will have 1 or 2 things to put across. The first one, I will still insist on the mindset change, because everything begins with the mind. We have seen many projects of government coming and not working. I think for this one to work, we need to change the mind, our fellow youth. think on government projects. Because as you know, youth just know we get the money, we eat and disappear, and it is done. But we need to change the mindset of people that if we embrace the government project, it can be of a good importance in our life and to the nation. Then lastly, I think this would go to the government. I think they need to come up with a more clear way of how they are going to manage. What kind of rules are they going to put on defaulters? Those who will mismanage the money. I think they need to come up with a clear policy as regard to how the money will be managed. How are they going to collect back the money for us to see a sustainable
accountability process. Wow, thank you. Rebecca.
Thank you. Me, what I have seen in this is that the youth are more ready to participate in the PDM. The only thing they need here is, because the pillars vary them, they are ready, like the pillars are already good enough for them. But what is needed here is the government to involve them. Let them not be left out. You know, they underlook them and they think they are not capable of anything. Maybe they have weird ideas or what, but they have ideas that can bring change, or that can come up with, they can come up with different ideas. Like my sister said, they have studied about marketing, infrastructures, what. So let them be involved in this issue. So.
Okay, thank you. Just let's spare another 5 minutes to wrap up this. Oguttu, we just had a by-election last week and we are discussing youth, you know, and a young person just won another constituency, the Omoro by-election. And to me, I think this is maybe good news for us as young people. But the question is, what is your own take about this by-election, how it was conducted? Is it progressive in terms of democracy? Are we moving towards the right path as a country democratically?
Well, in terms of democracy, no. But NRM has just learned how to win by-elections. After, I think, the Arua by-election of Kassiano Wadri. I think NRM party should be given credit for learning how to win by-elections now, because they're now sweeping them properly. But to me, when you talk about democracy, I don't see anything, because I think it has now even gone to another level where we are now seeing government vehicles, number plates covered, where we are seeing men who are not in the uniform or military holding guns in a by-election, people being taken to unknown places. So when you talk about democracy, no. However, the people exercised their right as they wished. That's what I can say.
So the people chose, so you think that their will wasn't abused? The right candidate won?
The candidate might have won, but the results don't clearly translate to the winning.
Okay. Vicky?
Yes, as far as I'm aware...
Democracy and politics.
Yes, as far as I'm aware is that the political field is like a hunting ground.
Okay.
Every hunter holds his gun and is in the field to shoot the animal that they find. So the successful animal that they shoot is the successful animal they take home and celebrate together.
That is true.
The fact that, I appreciate the fact that as NRM as a party, they mobilized everybody who was possible in order to see that their candidate wins. All parties were in the field on the hunting ground. They also had the mandate to go around and mobilize everybody to Omoro, because all guns were pointing to Omoro, the animal.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, the fact that everyone lined up in support, and we also had opposition candidates who withdrew in favor of the other and supported the candidate that they saw was willing and capable, was a sign for me of democracy. Because where do we find unity in opposition, where some opposition parties are uniting with another party to see that a candidate wins? To me, that is enough definition of democracy. Because, as I said, the political field is a hunting ground. So we want to, I would love to congratulate the MP elect for Omoro and the NRM government and the NRM party for the for the great effort they put in to see that the candidate won. Every political party had its right to go to the field and look for votes, which they did.
Yeah.
Yes, so to me it is democracy, and it was upheld, and politics, as you know.
Yeah. Opiyo, your political party scooped the county. Are you excited? Are you happy about it?
Actually, I was still continuing with my celebration. Me personally, I was a part of him.
Okay.
So from a democratic point of view, I would say things were okay.
Okay.
Yes, because everything was resolved around effort.
Yeah.
Which effort?
The
As your
NRM
party.
Yeah.
We have seen NRM has put a lot of effort.
Yeah.
And no one would expect us to fail in the election. Obviously, we won. And I'm happy seeing a fellow youth going to parliament. That is a transition.
Yeah.
As you are seeing, we are looking forward to seeing a new generation taking over the office.
Yeah.
So when I see a fellow youth going to the parliament, I'm very happy. Of course,
not on affirmative action, but on a directly elected constituency.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
I was very happy because if you bring someone old, then we fellow youth kick him out. That is very interesting. So I just wish my brother all the best.
Yeah.
Let him go and do his best.
Yeah.
Yeah, let all people remain. We need to bring more youth into the politics of Uganda.
That's true. Nothing for us without us.
That is it.
Rebecca, are you also a political animal?
Not really. Not really, but I followed a little about it, and democracy was okay.
Prevailed.
It was. Because it was the people stood out for their candidate, and he won. So,
okay. You've heard their views. Some are conservative, some are very proponent. But well, the Youth Roundtable congratulates the Honorable Member of Parliament elect, Honorable Ojok Olanya Andrew, for that victory. Well deserved. I think my own opinion is that I think it was a well deserved victory. From us at the Youth Roundtable, we hope that you've enjoyed this particular episode. It has been amazing, it has been thrilling, but above all, we hope you have something to take home regarding the Parish Development Model. To our technical team, Rashid and the team, thank you for ensuring that our viewers get this show right on time. Your efforts are very appreciated. From us to you, until next week, same time, same place, bye-bye.